Starship is debuting a 14-year-old and people are just not having it. So let's talk about it. So if you don't know, Starship is finally going to be debuting their new girl group and they are going to be called Hive. There is a lot of hype surrounding the girl group because 2 former members of i-dle are going to be in this group. And if you're a fan of i-dle, you know that those members are An Yoo-jin and Jung Won-young. And even before the teasers or the social media accounts, any of that was released, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be looking forward to this Won-young Yoo-jin group because I used to be, or I still am, a huge Wiz1. Like, I love i-dle very much, and I'm really looking forward to all of their future activities. However, it wasn't until more members started getting released to the public each day that I became more interested in the group. However, there has been some controversy surrounding the maknae of the group, but before we talk about that, let's go through every single member of Hive. So the leader of the group, which I heard is going to be Yoo-jin, and she is a 2003 liner. 2003 still feels very young for me because I am a 97 liner, but I feel like it's very normal for K-pop idols to debut at 18 nowadays. So there is that. The next member is she's a new member that has been revealed, and that is Gaul. Yeah, and she is a 2002 liner, so the oldest member of this group is going to be a 2002 liner. So that is interesting. She's actually very, very pretty. Like, damn, she's got visuals. And I'm really excited to see what else she has to offer. The next member is Won-young. I love Won-young. And she used to be i-dle's maknae, but right now she is not the maknae of this group, which literally blows my mind that somebody is going to be calling Won-young Unni. So that is interesting. Then we have another member, and this is the member that really, I would say, sparked my interest for the group, and that is Liz. She's also a 2004 liner, so her and Won-young are 17, will be 18 next year. So again, even if 2004 feels super young for me because I am 97. So yeah, I feel like Liz really caught my attention because her visuals are truly, truly something. Like, wow. I feel like she could be a potential bias for me. And when I saw Liz, it really got me to be more excited for the group's debut. And then we have another member. We have Ray, and she is also 2004, so that makes her 17, 18, around that. Then we have the member that caused the most controversy. That is the maknae of the group, Lee Seo, and the controversy surrounding her is that she was born in 2007. Like, let that sink in. She is the same age as Girls' Generation and the Wonder Girls. That literally blows my mind. It does. I mean, she is very pretty. She's a very pretty girl, obviously. Her teaser photo, people ratioed it mainly because people had genuine criticisms and concerns about Starship debuting somebody this young. And I found this interesting because it's not new in K-pop for K-pop idols to debut this young, or companies to debut K-pop idols this young. You had SHINee's Taemin, or April's Jinsol, or Luna's Yeojin, or even Won-young in i-dle who are like 14, 15 when they debuted. So I think it's interesting that this member in particular is generating so much, I would say, negativity. Not saying it's a bad thing, not saying just because you had Taemin or Won-young debuting at 14, that just because this girl debuts at 14, an okay thing. But I find it interesting that people are getting heated up about this, even if it's been an issue that has existed for a while now. Yeah, let's just talk about how I feel about this. I do agree that 14 is very young to debut. Like, I think I was doing a YouTube live, I think a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking about how I don't really like the idea of K-pop idols debuting under 17, and this is my opinion, but I'm just not really a fan of underage K-pop idols. I'm not a fan of the idea of underage K-pop idols debuting, and that's mainly to do with the fact that, you know, when you're underage, because they're minors, and minors really don't have the maturity, and they don't really have the concept of what the K-pop industry truly is like. They probably think that, the glitz and glamours associated with K-pop is just that and not necessarily about all the horrible things that are beyond it, because the K-pop industry, like any other entertainment industry, is filled with creeps, predators, and just horrible people that will take advantage of their innocence. So that is the reason why there is a lot of, heated debate and a lot of concerns about this girl debuting this young. I mean, she is 14, she's an actual child. And there's also this, talk about how because she is really, really young, it's very unfair to her that she has to miss her childhood and work diligently to be a K-pop idol, because a K-pop idol, it's a very tasking job, because you have to do so much, from dancing to practicing to singing. You're basically giving up your soul, your childhood for, the life of a K-pop idol. And I hope that IVE makes it. Like, I really hope IVE becomes successful. But at the same time, you have no idea if this group is really gonna take off. So there is that. Like, there's no guarantee. Like, you had groups like Pristin, who you thought would take off, or Gugudan, you thought would take off, but then because of mismanagement and issues, they ended up disbanding. So you don't know, okay? I'm just being a bit realistic here. And another issue that I have personally is the concept photos for these girls, especially Iso. I feel like Iso is too young to be dressed like this, because she just does not look like her age. I'm not saying that she should be dressed up as like a 4-year-old, but I don't know, it's like the outfit, it's a bit too mature for someone her age. So that is what I'm saying, But then again, that's just how I personally feel. Let me know if you disagree or agree with any of my points. And you've had, child stars or people talking about their experiences in the entertainment industry and how a lot of the time they had such bad experiences with the people, and how it was very frustrating for them, and how they had like severe mental health issues and they had no idea how to cope with it. So that is another thing that I worry for Iso. I feel like a lot of the criticisms I have about her, not just Iso, but any K-pop idol or anybody debuting this young, it's mainly because I am worried for their mental health, I'm worried about their physical health, and I'm just really worried about people taking advantage of them. So I feel like that is the reason why a lot of people are like really worried about this. And I really don't get why Starship had to debut her. Couldn't they have waited till like 5th gen to debut Iso, and the other girls could have just debuted? Like, I feel like if it was just up until Ray, like the 4 girls, if they just debuted, nobody would make that much noise, because they are 19 to 17 years old. Like, I still think that below 18 is still very young to debut, because again, they're minors, but at least a 17, 18-year-old or a 19-year-old has way more maturity, way more experience, and a better grasp of handling tough situations than a 14-year-old, because 14-year-olds are little children. Like, yes, they're teenagers, but they're actual preteens, actual children, probably haven't hit puberty properly, so there's also that. And I'm just worried that in the future that this will continue being normalized. And it's just very worrying that actual children are being thrust into the K-pop world, especially since they don't really truly understand the, as much as I hate to say this, the dark side of the K-pop industry. Again, K-pop industry is not the only industry that is cruel, unforgiving, only cares about profits and not the actual people that makes the money for them. So that is the reason why I'm just worried about Iso. Of course, I don't think Starship is as bad as other companies. I mean, they're still not the best. But again, we don't know what happens behind the scenes, okay? I've been a huge fan of Starship groups my whole K-pop fan life. So I'm still very excited for HYBE's debut. But again, I feel like people's criticisms and worries about somebody debuting this young are like valid. And I worry for Iso. And I just really hope that this doesn't get normalized. I feel like it's been normalized for years now for K-pop idols to debut really, really young. Like, you had Taemin debuting when he was an actual child, and it's just really sad that this issue is still going on now, and it's mainly because people just don't make noise about it. So I'm kind of glad people are making noise about it. You know what I'm saying? So that in the future we don't get, 2010 kids debuting. Not soon, at least, okay? Like, let the 2009-10 babies debut for 5th gen. Like, not for 4th gen, at least. And, like, can you imagine actual 12-year-olds debuting? I mean, there are some kiddie groups, like, there are some K-pop groups that have actual kids in them, but they don't, like, really go anywhere, not to my knowledge. So yeah, I just hope that in the big mainstream groups from big companies, we don't get actual 12, 13-year-olds debuting. I heard that for Island, actual 2009 liners are gonna be eligible for participating. And that is actually very concerning. And I've also heard some things about this new show called My Teenage Dream, which people told me to check out on, and I haven't yet, but I will, I promise. And yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that ISO should be debuting just because in the past we've had K-pop idols debut so young, like Wonyoung, Taemin, Jinsol, etc., to name a few? Or do you think it's actually a bad idea? Because again, I personally think it's a bad idea in the sense that we've had child stars, child singers talk about how this was very damaging to their mental health and their physical health, and also because they had to deal with a lot of horrible people in the industry at such a young age, and they had no idea how to cope with it. So that's all I have to say. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.